He's always been super busy. I mean, probably the busiest bass player I know. You might know him from Los Abandon and other miscellaneous Latin rock bands, but he's played in many things, including a project I did with him called El Quickie. Here's my brother, my friend, my confidant, and my inspiration, el señor Viralata. Welcome to the show, sir. Welcome to Bowie Night.
How's it going, man?
It is going, man. It is
You
going.
are the easy one. You know, I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round.
And you just had to let it go.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes I just keep it, and that's the problem. Anyway, yeah, man, it's David Bowie Day.
It is David Bowie, man, and y hay que celebrar el señor.
Yeah, the White Duke.
The White Duke.
It's interesting how David Bowie came into my life. I had in my barrio back in Mexico City. I had a friend. I had a couple of good friends. One went to school with me. His name was Ramon, and then Faustino, which was another good friend. And Faustino, well, Ramon, his brother was a big Rod Stewart fan, like a huge Rod Stewart fan. He had everything Rod Stewart.
Rod the Mod.
Yeah, and Faustino had everything David Bowie. So I was kind of exposed to both things, but for some reason I was like, man, this Rod Stewart guy, I just don't know. You know, it's like I'm not too keen to what he does, and I studied art since I was little. You know, I was taken to painting and Teatro Guignol, which is the marionettes, and all kinds of things, right? So for some reason, I guess David Bowie really kind of made an impact. And of course, at that point, I think the first album that I saw or cover was 1984. And I was like blown away because I was like, man, like the whole lightning bolt and everything.
Okay.
It was pretty.
Did you ever hear about that? You met because you put together Rod Stewart and David Bowie. Did you ever hear about that? The story of early on, like one of David Bowie's first bands that he was ever in. He was like 15. He played a show with Rod Stewart, another band that Rod Stewart was in. It was before Faces. No, it was before Faces. It was just like these are just like cover bands that they were playing off and like in a all day festival at a big restaurant on an island actually. And I can't remember what the name of the island is, but I just remember people complaining that
República Dominicana, chicos.
No, they had to carry their equipment across this bridge by foot.
I heard that story by Rod Stewart saying.
Yeah. So, and then the thing is that in that particular show backstage, people were all freaked out, and this is like '64, and people were all freaked out that Rod Stewart was wearing panties, women's underwear. And everyone was just like, why are you wearing women's underwear? And Rod Stewart's just like, it's just more comfortable. and people kind of say that was like, that could have been like a thing early on for David Bowie to see that,
yes.
To see some dude just wearing women's underwear and just be like, hey, it's all right.
All right. Well, that's the thing. It's like he went through a huge transformation, and his first girlfriend was the one, or not his first girlfriend, but this girlfriend that he had, who was really into fashion and modeling. She's the one who really inspired him to do all these things. But that really, it's a perfect segue to go to Lou Reed.
Oh yeah.
Actually, no. Well,
you were talking about the first album, dude.
The great thing about Bowie is that he was more than a musician. He was an artist. He was, and I usually tell this. I say this to whoever asks me a question about music, and it's like, well, do you want to be an artist or do you want to be a musician? AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, they're musicians. They're not really artists. David Bowie had the capability of reinventing himself over and over until the day he died. it's said that there are albums that he left unreleased. So
Yeah, Toy and there's other things and
yeah. So it's. I mean, I just heard the other day that he was one of the voices in SpongeBob. So it's amazing. He was he collaborated. He was the keyboard player for Iggy Pop.
yes,
He
yeah,
was the
on that
producer
one
for
tour.
Lou Reed. And for example, I was really trying to focus on 1977, which of course is a crucial year in the history of pop culture, perhaps the most influential year, and it's like subliminal, because
Yeah,
well, the summer of Sam, hip hop, punk rock, and then of course that Low album, and then Heroes, which are by far one of the best, in my opinion, is one of his best work. And this both things happen after, like, he was preoccupied of how his career was going to go and where it was going to go. And it's interesting how he takes a back seat in a lot of these tracks. For example, one of my favorites in Low is that track called Warsawa, which pretty much he's not in it.
yeah,
I guess, and that just really brings me to Brian Eno, who's another genius of music and art. For the former keyboard player of Roxy Music, who called himself the anti-musician. He really didn't consider himself as a musician, but his inventive. He was very very out there. He approached music in a way that nobody did prior to him, and so that is something, a collaboration that really meant something culturally. So for example, in that track Warsawa, it's basically four notes that I think Visconti's kid or somebody in the studio, somebody's kid was playing on the piano, and they reproduced that, and then put all these layers, and all of a sudden, Bowie, I think it wasn't on the studio, and came back and started just doing this gibberish over it. Like that's not even a language. There's not even you know anything. It's just a made up language, and it's like there's a very beautiful part there, because everything is like in the major key, and then it goes into that minor chord, and it just hits you with all these layers of keyboards and stuff, and it's just a beautiful track. And that came out
it's
in
beautiful,
January.
beautiful drama.
Beautiful drama. It came out in the very early 1977, and then he went on tour with Iggy Pop, and then he did Heroes, which
Such a crazy period.
it's a crazy period. When you really think about Bad Bunny, who put out all this music, and then you compare it to David Bowie putting out the same amount of music.
Coño, me va a cagar el show, loco.
It's kind of crazy. Well, that's the thing. It's like he was so prolific,
Yeah.
prolific and inquieto. He was just all over the place doing everything that he could, and living. And of course, on top of this, I think he was trying to clean up that year. I think he was trying to just like
He's definitely, yeah. I mean, he took
stay
his
away from the
kid.
drugs. But
Yeah.
you have Iggy Pop, Lou Reed, and David Bowie living in Berlin in 1977. I don't know how. I don't know if he actually was sober or not. Maybe. So it's a crazy
Well, I mean,
thing.
from several books that I read, it basically there's a lot of drinking, but nothing much of anything else, because
Okay.
they were just hanging out. Like during the day, they'd go to the cafes and and record at night, kind of thing. They weren't
Oh, okay.
really.
Because I was gonna say, man, like if that is the gate to that sort of artistry, kids, I encourage you to do heroin.
Say no to drugs.
La mota es para nacos, do heroin. It's better. Está de moda. It's like the thing to do. And then, of course, then I gave you my top five, and Warsaw was definitely like number one. Followed by
Let's go through that top five.
Yeah. Like, so I think you have it right, because I forgot.
Let me pull it up here. Let me get my assistant to pull this up right here. Hold on.
Assistant.
Okay, so it was a perplexing list to me because there was some other stuff that.
It had
Okay,
nothing to do with,
yes, and you have to explain.
and it does.
So you have Warsaw. You have Sound and Vision. Sound and Vision is in my top 10. I love Sound and Vision. Oh,
The most interesting thing to me in Sound and Vision is that spray.
that's
That's
a. That,
and that spray. It's funny because it's on beat 3, so it's like dum dum dum. Da, 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 da. You know, it's like
not
perfect at the
not
end
good
of
for
every
the environment, but
not good for the environment, but that's
great for our ears.
exactly.
Yeah,
It was 5 years before it was bad.
yeah.
So, the,
Tell that to all the late '80s rockers.
right. Yeah, that should have been banned before.
But yeah,
So yeah,
this like this beat has been brought to you by Aquanet.
correct. So and also I read this too that that I guess one of the things that Brian Eno used to do is to put hot water right early when they got to the studio. They would put like a boiling water glass of boiling water, and he would put cloves of garlic in there. So David Bowie said something like it was really unpleasant to do backing vocals with him. Like, you know, because back in those days you didn't have like all these uh, takes, you know, all these tracks to layering and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, Sound and Vision is definitely one of the tracks, and it's funny because those both of these albums, Heroes and Low, have that thing where like side A is one thing and side B is a completely different conceptual record, you know. So so what's the next one?
Next thing is Heroes, of
Oh,
course.
Heroes. Okay, so Heroes. So yeah, Heroes. You know, of course, I like all the songs in there. Like what is that one called? There's one that he's playing this Japanese instrument.
Now I gotta
There's
look
a
this
couple
up.
of those instrumental songs that are just amazing, you know, and but that's what he did. Well, that's what he did. You know, there's a lot of world music combined, and it's just basically it's like a lot of intellect going into these songs. Of course, for the sake of television, I put Heroes because then you know if you get all this really abstract tracks, then it becomes like whatever. And Warsaw was already one of those really abstract tracks.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
side B of that album is just gorgeous. You know, it has all this like landscapes and really it's really Brian Eno. You see Brian Eno's
So
genius in there.
you got V2 Schneider, Sense of Doubt,
Which one?
Sense of Doubt, Moss
Sense of
Garden.
Doubt's great and Garden of Moss, right?
Yeah, Moss Garden, and then
Moss Garden.
Nucoln.
Moss Garden is the one that has I think it's a cut or I really don't know the name of the instrument, but he's playing it there. And it's just a great album. But Heroes, you know, also has that big genius Robert Fripp, which he did all this 3 tracks of guitars that make no sense at all.
Yeah,
You know, it sounds like an Ebo, distorted, and then he has all this dissonances. But actually, there's a lot of dissonant notes throughout the song, and it's somewhere between the keyboards of David Bowie and the keyboards of Eno and the guitars of Robert Fripp. I mean, Robert Fripp, guitar player, founder of King Crimson. That's like music. That's like rock music royalty.
it definitely is. Definitely is.
And you know, and the genius of Brian Eno with the ingenuity of David Bowie, you just can't replicate that today. Basically,
Well, a lot of that stuff. I mean, I've been talking to a few people about this, and it's just amazing how part of Bowie's magic has always been able to kind of put the right people in a room, you know, and let them do what they do.
right?
You know, it's like a lot of directors say that making a movie is 80% or 90% casting. You know, just you have to get the right people and then just let them go and just do the thing and he always knows what he wants. but in what he wants is so sort of wide and open and kind of
Right.
free.
But you know what? It's like it's also putting the ego in the back burner. Because it's, for example, like now you said you made a reference to directors. Alejandro Jodorowsky would say the same thing. Alejandro Jodorowsky would say that his biggest talent is to surround himself with people with a lot of talent.
With talent, yeah.
So and that is
Kind of
true. I
like
mean,
what drummers do.
exactly. Hello to all my friends that are drummers.
It's just a drummer's joke. I always, as a singer, I always have to take advantage of an opportunity.
Of course. Well, when the drummer starts complaining about, like, can you help me? Why don't you help me carrying my drums? I always say, did Jesus ask for help? And the answer is no. Carry your cross, motherfucker. Anyway, so I guess for number 3, I gave you "Are We Not Men?"
Are we not men? And this is where it got a little loopy for me. So I'm like going, okay, so Devo, okay, talk to
Yeah,
me.
well, he saw Devo at Max's Kansas City in New York in 1977, and he was like, "What?" And of course, you have to also consider that he had been living in Berlin. He was
Yeah.
really influenced by the Kraft rock, by Kraftwerk and all that electronic music
Now and Kraft, yeah.
in Germany. So he sees this and he's like, "What the hell is this?" And of course, Devo being one of my favorite bands, and I can actually demonstrate that in a second. He set out to. He actually said, I think, uh, um, verbatim. He said, "We are going to sign Devo, and we're gonna record him, produce him in Tokyo." And of course, that didn't happen. They actually went to Germany, and Mike Mothersbaugh, which I'm a big admirer of, he arbitrarily removed all the tracks that Brian Eno and David Bowie did. And not too long ago, he said he actually went through the tapes and realized that there were a lot of tracks that they did, including backing vocals. So apparently there are recordings, and I hope that they are released with their versions, because there is a Brian Eno mix, and there is the Devo mix, which pretty much kicked them all out. And I think that the thing with them is we were preoccupied that they were going to be too associated with them. And I mean, it's a very ballsy decision, to remove the Duke and the King out of your record. Just it's very. I mean, I don't think it would have affected them. I think their career would have turned to be a different thing. But yeah, not talking about having your eggs in all kinds of basket. It's like you go tour with Iggy Pop, you decide to go and sign and produce Devo, and you make 2 records.
Have you heard any of those tracks, or
No,
is it just something that's
no.
completely? Because I wonder about how how it is as an extremely creative person, that sometimes knowing what you don't want is what makes you do what you need to do. So like hearing those initial tracks and maybe going, this is great, but it's not what we wanted to do,
Right. And also there's the anecdote that I think Jerry Casale missed the playing for the session. And so they had this like session dude playing bass, and Eno and Bowie were jamming with them. So I think the synergy there didn't happen. But also you have to consider that Devo were art students. Before they were musicians, they were art students, and they completely knew, like you say, they exactly knew what they didn't want.
Yeah.
and they accomplished that. I mean, it's all 3 of these characters are completely and unmeasurably influential today.
So let's move on to your next pick, man.
Oh, that was Sound and Vision, I think, right?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, number 4.
Yes,
Number 4 was Sound and
number
Vision.
four.
Who you
Number
know?
4.
Yeah.
This is what I have. I don't have an order, but I got Warsaw, Sound of Vision, Heroes, Are We Not Men, and Where Are We Now?
Where Are We Now? Okay, so that is kind of like going back. He wrote that after a 10-year hiatus, and I guess it's in a way is
That was the basically his comeback from when people thought he was retired, and then he released that like song out of nowhere and on his birthday.
on his birthday. Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's basically a way of healing. You sometimes you write a song and you are pouring your heart out and you're like trying to make sense of everything that happened, and you're encapsulated an episode of your life that was painful, and you put it into words and a little melody, and you hope that people connect with it. I mean, this is great because he's revisiting those days, and the things that happened. It's like you're traveling with him to places that he used to go to. And then there's a line that says "walking with the dead." And then where are we now? Where are we now? And I think it had to do also with a relationship that he treasured, and the video is amazing. It's a piece of art. But yeah, that to me, it kind of like it just closes that circle of that Berlin trilogy as a.
What's you know the song well? What's the name of the place that he mentions going to? It's like Potsdamer.
It's Potsdamer, and there's what is it called? I forget, but it's like it's so many.
Basically, he's going to like El Chopo in Berlin.
Exactly. Which, by the way, El Chopo is a very it's kind of like a Gothic building. I don't know if it's Gothic, but yeah, it's pretty European.
Yes, it is.
He goes to he goes to Oxo, and then he went to Sumesa, and then made a detour to Sanborns.
Sanborns.
He had some molletes at Sanborns.
Bought some bootlegs.
Bootleg
Kraftwerk albums.
Exactly. It's like I got. It's interesting when we toured with Los Abandoned, we did a U.S. tour with a band called Polysix from Tokyo, Japan.
Yes.
and they were big Devo fans. Like huge. Actually, they're called the Devo of Japan, and Mark Mothersbaugh and the Devo guys really admire them, and they quote them all the time and whatever. And so, I forgot his name, lead singer, actually gave me a bunch of CDs. I'm gonna look at my hair. Oh my god, my hair! He made a bunch of CDs for me that were bootleg, including like some David Bowie and some Devo and some Kraftwerk live albums that were bootleg. And I was like, I still have them somewhere.
That's beautiful.
I can play them because CDs are. I don't have a CD player or a cassette player or a computer.
You're devoid of playback devices.
Exactly. Listening to music.
It's live or nothing else. It's got to be live.
Yeah.
If it's recorded, I don't want Memorex in this house.
Yeah, it's crazy because I can't listen to music because when it's bad, I hate it, and when it's good, I hate it because it's not mine.
There you go. Take a moment, take it in, and go, huh? This is pretty good. This is pretty good.
So that concludes my top 5.
Your top 5.
My top 5. Which worked hard. I mean, it's been you asked me this a month ago. It
would have been a completely different list.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the famous duet of Bowie and Mick Jagger didn't pop up on your list.
No, because I like Martin and the Vandellas.
All right. Thank you so much, man. Tell me what you've been up to this past year. I
Oh,
mean, I know this has been crazy.
well, as bad as people say 2020 was, to me, it's actually one of the best years because it was introspective, it was cleansing, and it was inspiring. I got inspired from all the dirt, from anything, from all the geocentric, conspiracy theories, bad relationship, bad business relationships, and all that stuff. Really, it just put me in a place of vulnerability and growth. And so I at some point I just when 11 o'clock hit, I started writing, and I wrote about 50 to 60 songs.
That's insane.
So I am launching a label that is not going to be on conventional platforms because I also decided to not give away my effort. And so it's
Well,
called
well,
Artesana.
how do you explain what do you mean by that? You mean like not on Spotify? And
Not
that's good.
Spotify, not on iTunes, not on none of that stuff, not Deezer or anything like that. Because honestly, I mean, I get checks for $30 every 6 months for songs that have been played continuously.
Yeah, a gazillion times.
Yeah, so really, it's just not that. So I'm starting a memberships member supported record label via Patreon that is gonna pretty much give you all this music. And a lot of these projects are mine and projects that I share with people, like in Mariachi Manchester, Aparato. I have a regional Mexican group, a banda actually, and
Nice.
so it's basically music that is, it's like hand and wood. It's very acoustic, and it's heartfelt music for this controversial times. It's something that I also got tired of trying to chase a hit and trying to do things that are not relevant, and instead I just decided to say the things I want to say, and hopefully they connect with more than two people, which is me and maybe my dog that just died. So he's not gonna connect with it anymore. No,
What's the Patreon going to be called, or what's the project or the label called?
well, right now it's called Old Vido, but it's changing to Artesana Records.
Nice. It's
So
appropriate.
yeah, so I've been working on that, and of course it's a lot of work because you need a lot of things, but the same things that you would need to launch a project on conventional platforms. So hopefully, the their response is different, and also it's just, I think we're in times of David and Goliath. We're in
Yeah.
these times of the little guy defeating the big guy, and or maybe not even that, but it's a year of attempts. It's a year of trying and trial and error, and with more opportunities, and actually more receptive. Like, people are more receptive to these things, like the artisanal, the independent, and there's a big conscious for that now because
Yeah, it's more because it's more of a direct connection, and they know it's coming from an artist as opposed to a machine.
right, but it's
And
also consciousness of
yeah,
like the things that the normality was not normal and is not working anymore.
yeah,
So and of course, because I was 80% live performer, it really, I miss it. I miss the stage. I miss those things. I miss the connection. But in the midst of all this, I also noticed that, it's really, it was feeding my ego more than my artistry. So
yeah, yeah.
so now, I'm just focusing on other things.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
We'll get back to that.
That'll always be there. That'll always be
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
You
of
know.
course. It will come back, in a completely different shape and form, but and that we have to embrace and understand more than anything, you know.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very very wise move because you're taking care of your own factory and your own machine, your brain and your heart, and this if you don't have music to play, you can't play.
Correct, correct.
So
And
you
so
need to do that.
also in the midst of all this, I found a great friend who I make music with, and we came up with a concept called the anchoas. And
Please.
anchoas in Spanish, I mean in English is anchovies, and it's basically we're called the anchovies because we are everywhere, but not everybody likes us. You know, kind of like in Caesar dressing and in every supermarket. Well, there are anchovies here and anchovies there, but not everybody likes them. So
Yes.
we do
Just
a
just
very we do.
whatever you do, don't stand on my pizza.
That's right. We we do the new anthems for the new normal. You know, of that's our motto. And so yeah, we have very sweet and sour material, and we write about gorillas and being at my own funeral, and that she calls me a loser, things like very sweet things like those. So
Well, I can't wait to hear some of this stuff, man. I've always, you're a brother to me, and I've always admired your intellect and your talent, and also your fearlessness. There's never been a thing that you can't do, and I love that about you.
thank you. I cannot change like the oil in my car. I've been called a sissy by women before because I cannot, but that's why you spend $30 and take it to some, mechanic.
Hey, I say you let the pros do it.
Exactly.
So you
No,
got
and
sometimes
also I've been
sometimes you got to be
producing.
like David Bowie and just get the best, man. Just get the
Exactly, and
best.
also I've been producing. I'm I guess like song number 4 for Las Cafeteras new
Oh,
record.
nice, nice.
Yeah,
I love that
just
thing that they did with the Georgia on my mind. That was great.
that one I didn't do, but I did the
But you
Jose
were there in
Alfredo
spirit.
Jimenez. I did a Jose Alfredo Jimenez version of um, Amarga Navidad.
Nice.
And so there are a couple of things, some things that are coming out this year. They're just waiting for the moment, the right moment to do them. Because also, they're a touring band, so they want to support these new, working on a conceptual EP for them, and it's been great. They're really organized, and they're doing their thing.
Well, so are you, my brother. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for talking Bowie,
Thank you.
and I can't wait for this new stuff to come out and this whole new adventure for you. This is
Thank you.
going to be
Thank you.
great.
Don't you love
This
it when people take pictures like this?
kneeling down,
They do this and then they do this too. They do this. Yeah. That being
back in
said,
the day, back in the day,
back in the day.
back in the day. So I guess I'll see you at the next El Quickie reunion.
Yeah, of course. 20. We'll arrive in wheelchairs and canes. At least I will. We should do. You know what? I honestly, for all the 100 million people that are gonna watch this, I right now I ask you, please, Gio, upload those videos. I know that you had a problem with Prince or something, and
I have to find those original videos. I
want
believe they're
them.
on tape. They're on like mini DV or VHS even. I don't know. I
I
have
have
to
them.
upload
I
them.
have them on DVD.
Oh, I can't even find that. So you know what? Can you burn that?
Yes.
Burn it. Send it to me. We'll upload them. Let's put them
Yeah.
up. Let's put
So
them up because
I have them. I have them. I think I have them all.
that'd be
So
great. Yeah, because I could only find the last couple that we did.
how many were they?
Well, we did. That one is up for the Crash and Burn. That one's
That
available.
was the first one.
Yeah, and then we did Right on Time, which Tony directed.
We
I'm
did
not.
the one in the jacuzzi.
Then there was the one in Jacuzzi. Those I can't find. Which was the what was the Jacuzzi one?
If it's Goya, it has to be good.
Yes, that was fun. That
Who
was
would have
fun.
thought that 13 years later, Goya was actually not going to be good?
No, no, but I think that's if there's a parallel, it's America. You know what I
Of
mean?
course,
This is
of course.
the land of dreams.
I know that was the greatest line. I just when that happened, this whole like, the owner of Goya came out and supported Trump, and all I could think of was if it's Goya, it has to be good. For those who don't know, and are probably they know you, but for those who don't know me or don't know you or combined, and just happened to stumble upon this, and you hung out for like this minutes. El Quickie was a project that Gio started with the objective of writing, growing a fan base, recording an album, and do a debut and farewell. Less
Yes,
than 60 days.
less than 60 days. So complete an album, write and record an album, shoot videos, get a fan base of at least 500. I think it was MySpace at the time. And then make some noise and do one big show, and it would be like our debut and our goodbye. And it was that was transformative, man. I mean, I think for me, it was definitely something where all of the crazy ideas or any sort of preconceived notions of how you're supposed to do things or why just went out the window. And from then on, everything I'd done after that, it's been like, well,
Right.
we did it. We did El Quickie, and it's like that. We did that, so why can't we do this?
And it was it was very influential for me because I had just come out of doing Los Abandoned, and that was a very rigid time. It was a band that worked because it worked.
Yeah.
Because it was working all the time, and because it had one thing in mind, and all four pieces were, moving the same direction. And when you have bands, there's always going to be one person that takes the lead, and that's obviously how it works. But this was like a combined effort. Of course, it was leadership, and of course, there was more power in the front wheels. But that kind of situation with a Quickie, when it happened, I remembered immediately. Oh yeah, music is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And we can do this and have fun and actually you can make a living off this. So the project for me that came after that was really, really influenced and defined by my experience in the Quickie.
Yeah, I mean, I could say the same thing. And it's funny because I remember standing outside of Los Globos and me explaining this to you, and you like not even letting me finish. I'm like,
it was the Silver Lake Lounge.
Oh, the Silver Lake. That's right, right by the AA meetings.
That's right. Around the corner, they have like guava paste and queso fresco appetizers. Yeah.
The best Cuban sandwiches in Silver Lake, right there on the corner. But yeah, I do remember that. It was just like we're standing outside. I can't remember whose show it was.
It was Torino.
Oh, Torino.
I was playing with Torino that night, and you came up and said, I think I stopped you in like the first sentence.
It's like, hey man, I'm starting this thing. It's gonna be like less than 60 days. I'm in.
Yeah. So the music is available on iTunes still, right?
Yeah. It's on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. But
and interesting enough,
Bandcamp.
we were pioneers of this because we didn't see each other for the recording of these songs. So I remember I would send you lyrics, and then you would make a song. I would go. Actually, there was one thing that I went to your house and you had a Rhodes, and I played a part, and then you put it in there, and then you will send me something. I will put a bass line and bounce it back to you, and that's how we did that record. We actually had to learn the songs as we were trying to do the show, like
As
before
we
we
were
did the show.
pasting them together.
Yeah. And actually there are video YouTube videos of
Of the live show.
of
Yeah.
the live show. So pretty epic situations.
Yes. It's definitely yeah, it was a good time, man. It was a good time. It was a good time. And I thank you again, my brother, for joining me. And thank you again for the reunion 25 years from now. And shout out real quick to Pablito and
Jose.
Jose. What was Jose's name?
I don't know. It had to be sleazy.
Just had to be sleazy.
What was his name?
Because you were Profe. I was Billy Ray.
Pablito.
Pablito.
Wow. What was his name? Well, people out there, if
We'll find it. We'll look it up.
find out. But if you ever
I'll
want to
post
start
it.
a band and you already have a perv in the band, do not put a fake mustache on him. I'm gonna say that.
Yes, because all the red flags and the radars will go off.
That's right. We could. You know what? You know that we couldn't have done that in the era of Me Too.
It would have been different. It would have been a little different.
So
It would have
I
been a
guess
little
when
different.
by the time we reunite, our libidos are going to be completely extinct. So it will be fine.
It won't be a quickie.
It will be a quick. It'll be like, yeah,
It would be like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, here's the band. It ain't gonna happen.
right. We'll be cold and dusty.
Dusty.
Anyway,
Los polvos. All right. Thank you, my brother.
All
Be
right,
good.
man. Thank
And
you. Love you.
long live Bowie.
love you, man.
Igualmente. Love you too, man. Love you too, man.
I'm gonna
Cuídate.
be now. All right.
Bye.